Good day, folks. Welcome. My name is Omer Ahern Jr., and I am the District 3 Grafton County Commissioner, serving the towns of southeastern Grafton County, as far up as Rumney and Warren and over to Canaan, and the southern part of the county, Alexandria, Bristol, Bridgewater, and of course Holderness, Plymouth, Hebron, Rumney, Wentworth, Dorchester, Groton, Orange. So there's about 15 towns that I serve. I am one of 3 county commissioners. We are elected every 2 years. The other 2 commissioners that I serve with, District 1, which includes the towns of Hanover and Enfield and the city of Lebanon. That's Commissioner Wendy Piper of Enfield. She presently serves as the clerk of the Grafton County Board of Commissioners. And then the chairman of the Grafton County Board of Commissioners is Commissioner Linda Lauer, and she serves Grafton County District 2, which are the towns in the northern and western part of Grafton County. And again, we're all elected every 2 years. Periodically, once a quarter, we meet with the County Delegation Executive Committee. And we made a report to them on September 21st up at the county complex up in North Haverhill. And we updated them by saying that the pro-share monies, that is money that comes from the federal government, which is supposed to be going to the counties based upon our Medicare and Medicaid services that we provide to our residents there. The delegation voted to give the biggest portion of that back to the state of New Hampshire Department of Health and Human Services, and the state said that they would then reimburse a portion of that money back to Grafton County. We have not heard back yet from Department of Health and Human Services how those pro-share monies and the distribution is going to happen, so we're still waiting there. We just finished the field work, or we just had the field work done for our annual financial audit, completed by Melanson, Heath and Company out of the Concord area. Their work was done at the end of July, and the preliminary results show that all went well and that Grafton County ended the fiscal year 2018 in a good financial position. But we're waiting for that final report from Melanson and Heath. One of the big things that's happened just recently is the drug court transition. The North Country Health Consortium was chosen by the state of New Hampshire as the agency to take over the running of the drug court in Grafton County. Annie Crowley, the former Grafton County Drug Court case manager, was hired by the North Country Health Consortium as their program coordinator. Grafton County held its final drug court commencement on August 13th, with 4 participants commencing. New Hampshire, the North Country Health Consortium took over running the program officially on August 15th. And because they were supposed to take over on August 1st, there's going to be a little bit of money being reimbursed from the drug court program back to Grafton County, because we were still managing the program during that 2-week interim period. The new North Country Health Consortium is going to be leasing space at the Alternative Sentencing Building to keep a presence in the North Haverhill area for consistency for the clients and ease of court days. At this point, the transition is still going relatively smoothly. The SB 443 municipal electric legislation that I've talked about a couple of times here over the last 8 or 9 months has finally become law. We are now discussing with a consultant on how best to implement what I call the Grafton County Electric Freedom Bill. It will allow Grafton County now to go out onto the open market and purchase its electricity on the open market rather than having to purchase it through Woodsville Water and Light. So again, we're talking with an energy consultant on that, and I will keep you posted as things go along with that. The New Hampshire Association of Counties annual conference was held on September 16th at the Mount Sunapee Lodge, and several of our county employees received some recognition there. Stacy Cass received the County Attorney Employee of the Year Award. Rick Colbeth from the Maintenance Department received the County Employee of the Year Award. And Lori Rock received the County Nursing Home Employee of the Year Award. And these awards were presented at the annual awards banquet on Tuesday, September 18th. And we're very proud of these employees. Grafton County is very blessed to have some fantastic, outstanding employees, and these folks are just an outstanding example of that. The county commissioners will host an employee recognition dinner on Wednesday, October 10th, next week. This dinner recognizes the employees who have reached milestone years of service to the county, 5 years, 10 years, 15 years, 20 years, 25 years, and all employees in excess of 30 years. One big thing that we're working on right now is we will be commencing the interviews for the new farm manager position. Our farm manager for the last 30 or so years, Donnie Kimball, is retiring as of the 30th of November, and so we have invited applications for replacing Mr. Kimball, and we will start the interview process beginning next week. On our regular meeting on September 25th, we met with, again, those meetings are at the county complex up in North Haverhill. The meetings are just about every Tuesday. They start at 9 o'clock a.m. and they are open to the public. And so on Tuesday, September 25th, the first department head that we met with was Brent Ruggles, the information technology manager, and he was in to have us approve purchase of some computers, laptop computers that had gone out for bid, and we awarded the bid to a longtime vendor who has always been the lowest responsible bidder, but we had two other, we had two other bids, and again, I believe it's Dell computers that we're purchasing. Then we had the next department head was Tom Elliott, who was the superintendent of the Department of Corrections, and he came in and did his report, talking about various activities that are going on, the number of inmates that we have at the correctional facility. Again, we have a 150-bed correctional facility that was constructed and put into operation about 8 years ago. And right now our present population is somewhere around 88 inmates in that facility. One of the programs that goes on at the Department of Corrections is the FIRM program, F-I-R-R-M. And this is hosted and handled by the Department of Corrections. And the FIRM stands for Focused Intentional Reentry and Recovery Program. It is a 3-level reentry services and addiction treatment program for inmates sentenced to the Grafton County House of Correction who are struggling with a substance misuse disorder. It is a 3-level program, and the FIRM program consists of intensive in-house programming with our program and correctional staff, along with progression through supervision on home confinement and aftercare services. And we have about, I think we have about 6 people on different levels there for this FIRM program. Some people are asking, well, how does this compare to what the alternative sentencing program does? Well, the alternative sentencing program involves folks who are experiencing drug addiction issues but have not been sentenced to to the House of Correction. So these are some of the things that Mr. Elliott talks with us about. Again, if you're interested in going into corrections, we do have job openings as corrections officers at the Department of Corrections. Nancy Bishop, our Human Services Director, came in and made her monthly report on how things are coming with our Medicare and Medicaid reimbursements and the other services that the county is provided, is required by statute to provide, and how we get reimbursement from the state and the federal governments on those things. Then we had Donnie Kimball, the farm manager, come in asking about the status of the search for his replacement. Jim Oakes, the maintenance superintendent, came in and he gave us a full detailed report of all the work that he does on all the buildings there in Grafton County. The administration building, the nursing home, the alternative sentencing building, the Department of Corrections, the farm buildings, and the courthouse. So there's a lot of things that are going on there, a lot of issues with heating and ventilation and air conditioning issues, generators, making sure the emergency generators are in place. And I know I'm giving you a quick overview. However, if you go to the Grafton County website, just Google, Grafton County, New Hampshire, you will find that there are all the minutes of our meetings, and it contains all of these written reports from the different department heads. So you can see in detail what Mr. Elliott is talking about, what Mr. Ruggles is talking about, what Mr. Oakes is talking about. Also, as part of Jim Oakes' report, we also met with the energy consultant, Susan Olson of Warner, New Hampshire, who has 30 to 40 years experience in the electric generation and distribution and purchase of electricity for municipalities, and she was very much involved in the town of Hanover, getting into its becoming its own energy provider. So Susan Olson is a very capable person, and we are working with Susan on that going forward. So we also had some overnight travel requests from the alternative sentencing director, and that overnight travel request was approved by the commissioners on a 2-to-1 vote. I felt that there was another way for the training to be done other than sending people out of state. With all the new technology that's out there, Skype and webinars and so on, I feel that it's not the best use of our taxpayer money to be sending people overnight, motels, dining in other locations. If it's somebody's private money and they want to do that, I have no problem with that. But if it's the taxpayers' money, then I'm very, very cautious about doing that. And you'll see where I have not gone along with other requests for out-of-state travel for those similar reasons, especially if the taxpayers are going to be picking up part of that cost. And when I talk about the meeting that we had yesterday, October 2nd, you'll find that I voted 2 different ways on requests for out-of-state travel. There's just a lot of things going on, constantly dealing with accounting and financial reports at the county. One of the reports that we also gave to the county delegation executive committee on September 24th was from the county administrator, and this kind of follows up with the jail report, or the correctional facility report. On September 24th, there were 80 inmates in-house, 3 on electronic monitoring, 6 in the firm program, which I just discussed, and we had 10 pretrial services. At the time, there were 126 residents in our nursing home. She gave us a review of the fiscal year end 2018, reporting a very good year overall. Overall revenue exceeded expenses by $600,000, which resulted in an increase to the county's overall fund balance, bringing it to $4,193,736. The fund balance is an amount of money that the auditors like to see, and the Department of Revenue Administration likes to see the counties being kept off to the side just in case something catastrophic happens to our financial situation. And the unassigned fund balance increased by $653,000 to $2,272,580. This is about 5.4% of the operating costs, which is still below where it is recommended level of between 7% and 14%. Again, all of this information can be gleaned from the Grafton County website. But what's important is that the county, at the end of fiscal year 2018, which ended on June 30th, we came out in the black rather than in the red. Then she started to give a report on the so far in fiscal year 2019, which is very, very early. And again, those things can be viewed, I believe, on the county website. One piece of information that was also given to the delegation is the Grafton County tax comparison based upon the report from the DRA. We received a report from the New Hampshire Department of Revenue Administration, and for some of the towns in my District 3, some of it's good news for some of you folks, and some of it's not so good news. For example, the town of Alexandria, your tax obligation to the county has gone up 3.06%. Town of Ashland, your obligation went up 2.72%. Town of Bridgewater, your obligation went up 4.51%. So for example, Town of Bridgewater in fiscal year 2018 paid to the county in taxes, part of your real estate tax bill, $631,694,000. In fiscal year 2019, your tax bill for the Bridgewater, your share of your county share of the taxes is $660,214. Town of Bristol, your tax increased at the county level by 4.51%. Bristol, yours went up, 8.29%. 8.29%, going from $841,842 to $911,606. Town of Campton, your tax bill went up 1.79%, from $719,315 to $732,160. For you folks here in Plymouth, actually your tax rate went down by 2.05%, from $851,205 down to $833,788. The town of Rumney, your tax bill went down 2.08%, from $308,530 down to $302,109. And the town of Wentworth, their tax bill overall went down 0.02%, from $167,410 down to $167,372. And at this point, your selectmen in all of your towns have these figures available for you to look at. I'd like to go over a little bit the meeting that we held yesterday, the 10th, October 2nd. Craig Labor from the nursing home. He is the administrator of our Grafton County Nursing Home. And because Lori Rock was not able to attend the Association of Counties meeting in Mount Sunapee, Lori was present to receive the plaque for the Nursing Home Employee of the Year. And Lori is the young lady that you see when you come into the nursing home. She's usually sitting at the front desk, helping to direct people where to go and doing a whole bunch of administrative things from there. She's quite an energetic young lady. We're glad to have Lori on board. Craig talked about the nursing home bed population that we have here, the number of residents that we have there, and we're still not able to fill all the beds there. We have 135 beds in our nursing home, and as of yesterday, October 2nd, there were 127 of those beds were filled. We had 8 Medicare beds that were filled, 92 Medicaid beds that were filled. We now have 1 of the beds that we have set aside for veterans. There's 1 veteran under that program present, and we have 26 private pay residents at our county facility. So we're still 6 or 7 beds, 8 beds. We still have 8 beds that are open, and part of the problem with filling those beds is trying to make sure that because these are 2-bedroom rooms, 2-person rooms, and we've got to make sure we've got the right match of residents going into those rooms. On October 16th at 10:30 in the morning, the commissioners and Mr. Labor are going to meet with Aaron Cotton, a representative from Representative Custer, Annie Custer's office. And we will be talking about all of those Medicaid and Medicare and Centers for Medicare and Medicaid Services. It's a federal agency. All the rules and regulations that are imposed upon our county nursing home, which increases the cost to the taxpayers and to the residents of the nursing home in running and providing the services to the nursing home. We would like to talk with Representative Custer that she needs to work to reduce the rules and regulations that are just overburdening us at the county level. Also talked about some new programs through the New Hampshire Public Policy Institute in trying to come up with some innovative ways of dealing with value-based purchasing programs for our pharmaceuticals for our residents and other things. Just a lot of things going on. I did discuss with the county nursing home administrator and the human resource director who was there, Karen Clough, about one way of maybe enticing more people to come to work in the nursing home at Grafton County and at the House of Correction is by having the county offer a daycare center services for the employees that have, children that would be could take advantage of a daycare center. It's something that they are going to try to take a look at. We did have a request from the High Sheriff of Grafton County for some out-of-state travel for one of his detectives, and the sheriff provided us with a 2-page detailed summary of why this was a necessary thing to have this out-of-state travel for one of his deputies. And in reading that 2-page detailed report, the bottom line was that it was not going to cost the county taxpayers any money. It was all going to be paid for by the federal government. And if you look carefully at what this deputy is going to be going over to receive training on, in my mind, it is part of the national defense of our country. You know, New Hampshire is on the Canadian border. We have major traffic, Interstate 91, Interstate 93, Vermont and New Hampshire, coming through New Hampshire and Vermont, and we're right on the Vermont border in Grafton County. And so under our United States Constitution, one of the things that the federal government is responsible for is our national defense. And so where the federal government is paying for our deputy sheriff to attend this, I voted in favor of it. At the same time, we received a request from the dispatch center to send one of the people from the dispatch center to a training conference, and it was going to cost the taxpayers some money. There was no detailed report, except that it was going to cost the taxpayers $854. And again, I raised the issue. I know that other departments at the county can attend in-training seminars by Skype and other types of this new media that's out there. And if it were his own money that he was going to be spending, I have no problem with it. It's just that I know there's alternative ways of attending these in-training or these training conferences and seminars. And if it's private money and you want to spend your own money, fine. But where it's the taxpayers' money, I voted against it, but it was passed 2-1 to spend that money. The couple of things that we have for the children coming up at Grafton County is on Pumpkin Day, October 16th in the afternoon. We give a tour of our pumpkin gardens there at the farm. I've only got a couple of minutes left. I want to talk in general. Again, I'm one of 3 county commissioners. There are 10 counties in New Hampshire. There are 3 county commissioners elected for each county. We're elected in November. By statute, and you know, county government is a creature of statute by the legislature. So these folks that you're going to be electing to the legislature in November, they're the ones that pass the laws that tell us in county government what we're going to do. And right now, the law in New Hampshire requires county government to provide 3 things basically mandatorily. Number 1, we must provide a county nursing home. And we do that. We have a 135-bed nursing home, which I talked a little bit about today. The other thing that we are required to provide at the county level is a house of correction and jail. The jail is for pretrial confinement. The house of correction is for incarceration of those who have been sentenced to less than a year and a day in jail, incarceration, through the mostly through the Superior Court. So we're required to provide those services. And the county farm that we have historically was where the food came from to feed the folks in the nursing home and to feed the folks in the Department of Corrections. Right now, Grafton County is the last dairy farm operation in the state of New Hampshire. And we are producing milk. We get a premium for the milk that we sell. And as I've stated before, our dairy herd has just won 3 national awards. And we are in the process now of looking for a new farm manager. And with bringing on a new farm manager, we're bringing someone in, I'm sure, that will have some new ideas, maybe going with making dairy beef up there, expanding our vegetable operations, because some of our vegetables are fed into the nursing home. A lot of our vegetables are fed into the Department of Corrections, where they freeze it, prepare it and freeze it. But the county farm, in my mind, is an integral part of the operation of the county operation. It provides work opportunities for the inmates. It gets them out of the jail, not out of the jail, but out of the house of correction, where they can work and do something useful and maybe build up a little bit of their self-esteem in doing all of that. At this point, I want to thank the folks at the PBTV, Juliet and Andrew, and the young interns that they have here from PSU. I really appreciate this opportunity to talk with you folks. I want to thank Commissioner Lauer and Commissioner Piper, and I want to also say, God bless the great state of New Hampshire, and God bless America. Thank you very much.